Good evening, good afternoon, good whatever time it is, and whenever you are watching this. Thank you very much for joining us for yet another exciting edition of the Africa UAE Business Summit. And of course, this is where we are literally creating a bridge between, Africa and UAE. And of course, right now we started with Africa and UAE, but definitely looking at how we can expand this across the world. But of course, right now, this is the Africa UAE Business Summit. And today, it's a very exciting day because we're talking about your health. Your health is your wealth. We're looking at medical tourism. And what is medical tourism? Basically, medical tourism is when you tour another country primarily for medical reasons, and this often happens when when there's some kind of specialized treatment that you need from another country. Sometimes just for the scenic, pleasures of going to another country to enjoy maybe some other scenic, or even on your regular tour, you could decide to involve and have a medical, do your regular reasons why people do medical tourism. Primarily because we're talking about Africa, the primary reason why people do, in my opinion at least, why we do, medical tourism is because unfortunately our local health facilities are not up to scratch. I mean, personal example, yesterday I took someone to hospital for a very minor thing, and literally I got there at around 10 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock, left there at 5 p.m., literally an entire working day. And for most hospitals, unless it's a really private hospitals or some of the top hospitals in the country, unfortunately, that is the scene that is replicated across Africa, all across Kenya and all across Africa. Really bad, really poor medical services. And even if anyone has been following, doctors are on strike. Just the other day, we had an incident where we're talking about interns, medical interns who have not gotten placement. And every single cycle, every single election cycle, people will be talking about healthcare, devolving it, all that kind of a thing. But at the end of the day, when you walk into a medical facility, it's not always honky dory, especially across Africa. And so, because of that, we have a lot of Africans, and there's a lot of potential then for Africans to travel and across other places. I have had the privilege of, going on a familiarization trip to Dubai, courtesy of the Dubai Health Authority, I think about last year, and we got to tour several hospitals. We went to King's College Hospital, we went to Al Zahar Hospital in Dubai, we went to Dr. Suleiman Al Habib, we went to Moorfields Eye Hospital, we even went to Neurospinal Hospital, we went to a whole bunch of hospitals on a 3-day intensive tour. And at some point, my team will be putting together videos and clips from that trip and putting it on our YouTube for all of you guys to really check out. But the short story, the headline is that I was absolutely amazed at the quality of healthcare in Dubai. And that's also one of the reasons why I've really put together this summit. Because the thing is, my amazement by the quality of healthcare was only matched by my amazement of conversations I've had with a lot of medical practitioners in Kenya, and many people are not aware of the amazing facilities that are there in Dubai. And so I thought, you know what, let me talk to my partners, my friends and partners across UAE. And so let's have this conversation and find out, what are the medical tourism opportunities. And I was having some conversations online, and turns out there's also a lot of medical tourism opportunities right here in Kenya. Okay. And so there's a lot to cover under this banner of medical tourism, and obviously I will not be able to cover all of it. Just to basically scratch the surface, because there is so much. If you're looking on the clip, that was from my trip. That was in Moorfields Eye Hospital, Dubai. That I think was neurospinal. Part of that is the Neurospinal Hospital. The other is Dr. Suleiman Al Habib Hospital. A very interesting procedure that the doctor took us through. I think, I can't remember what his name was, but I'll put it up on our social media, where he was talking about some solutions for fertility. some very, very intensive solutions for fertility, some solutions around epilepsy, and some amazing things that they're doing there. And I mean, I can't quote the numbers right now, but they were promising really, really high recovery numbers, which are things that we'll get into. That's the cyber knife that I think in the I think that was Neurospinal Hospital. Then the bell that you're seeing there is in the King's College. That's a bell they ring for cancer patients. So every time a cancer patient, goes through the treatment and is successful, they ring that bell. Very interesting things going on there. There was a doctor who was explaining to us about the unique, fertility solutions that they have. And another beautiful thing that I can share from that particular farm trip is the facilities. And I'm talking about the private wards, the private facilities that they have. Honestly, some of those private rooms looked like executive presidential suites in a five-star hotel. Really amazing facilities. They even have facilities where if you're a senior executive, you can actually have your board meetings and your boardrooms while you're still, continuing with your recovery and that kind of a thing. They even have private rooms where someone who has traveled with you can join you. And so it is absolutely, absolutely amazing, just the facilities that they have in Dubai. And so, like I said, maybe later on in our social media platforms, which is Mawaida Africa, we're going to edit a lot of that content. And so we're going to put that together, and we really hope we can educate you guys. And one of my dreams, really, and I'll be talking to my friends and partners, is really if we can organize a farm trip, a familiarization trip for medical practitioners across Africa to visit Dubai and the UAE and just to see what facilities are there. And hopefully with time we can begin having referrals going on, because honestly, we have a lot of doctors and specialties, people who are in the various specialties who often look at, they often take the patients to places like India and other places, and yet they're not aware of the full spectrum of facilities that are out there. So I really look forward to creating a farm trip, and hopefully we can take guys out there to see and to exchange ideas, and even have forums and webinars and seminars where doctors and medical practitioners can exchange ideas and even training and have training opportunities. So those are some of the things I'm really looking forward to. And I mean, I have amazing partners who help me execute all my ideas. And right now I'm going to bring on board one of my good friends and excellent partner, Mr. Dr. William Stenhouse. I don't call you doctor well enough.
Yes. How are you, my brother Bonnie? You're good?
I'm good. Usually you're William Stenhouse. Today you've become doctor.
I've been
suspicious. So is it because we're talking about medical tourism?
I've been doctor for the last three shows, man. I think you missed it. That's okay.
I must have missed it. I must have missed it. Maybe it's maybe I need an eye checkup.
No problem. Hey, listen, today is quite exciting, man. I mean, we've got some amazing people that we've brought on board, but I've got a question for you, man. You've been talking really well about the medical facilities and everything that's going on in Dubai. $1 million question. How many hospitals in Dubai? Now, if you get this right, then I am going to give you a all expense paid to Dubai if you get this right. Don't Google it. Don't Google it. Don't Google it. I see you going to Google.
No, here are my hands. No, I'm not Googling.
How many is it?
This will be a wild guess.
Okay, give me a wild guess.
But let me say 20,000?
No, hospitals, brother, hospitals.
Oh, hospitals.
Yeah, hospital facilities.
Oh, hospital facilities. Yeah. Okay, let me put it at 2,000, between 2 and 3,000.
No. In Dubai, 52.
52,000.
No, 52. Only 52. In all the UAE.
Only 52.
Only 52. In all the UAE, it's 157. 157 hospitals across the UAE. Imagine. And the population is upward of 10 million across the country. So that's quite amazing. Another question. In Kenya, sending patients to Dubai. And if you say zero, well, guess what? That's a business opportunity, big time. And I think our next guest, Dr. Ahmed Al Samad, he will lay out the complete roadmap on how to do it, where to do it, how big the market is. You know, his consultancy business has worked with superstars, athletes, business people from Africa. He's also African, also, so he can give the African perspective. So, as I always do, I always want to come and enlighten our listeners, our followers of the business opportunities that are available in this country. Really, really amazing. Second thing I think it's important to do is talk about this bridge that we build with the UAE Africa Networking Group. It just does not extend to Africa. It extends to the US, it extends to the UK, and other places across the world. So we're quite pleased to welcome also our partners from the UK for all of those medical workers looking for another destination to work and possibly build their careers. So I think it's going to be a information-packed session. I don't want to hold up progress, Bonnie. I want to get right to it. Dr. Ahmed has a lot to tell us. Our partners from UK, which is Zan Consultants, they have a lot to tell us as well. And I think there's a young lady named Cecily who has a lot to tell us. So, you know, let's get right to it, brother. Let's not hold up. But I tell you what, I want to announce something so everybody knows. Next week is the Entrepreneur Show. Next week is the Entrepreneur Show. We're quite excited. We're going to hear from a lot of Kenyan entrepreneurs that are here in this market doing amazing, amazing things. We're going to bring some people to help you to get into this market and do big business, and also in Kenya as well. So I'm equally excited about today, but I'm more excited about next week. So let's go.
Oh, come on. I thought you were a doctor. You should be excited about today also.
I said that. I said that. I'm excited about today, but I'm equally excited about next week. It's a special show.
So true, so true, so true. I have a special place in my heart for entrepreneurs because I'm a serial entrepreneur. You know, I've been an entrepreneur ever since I left campus. I actually worked only 3 months. I only worked for someone else for 3 months in my life. After that, went straight into entrepreneurship. So I'm a serial entrepreneur, I would say almost addicted to entrepreneurship. And so for me, I have a special spot in my heart for entrepreneurship. And that's why I do Mawaidha, because earlier on in my business life, I realized my sweet spot is really creative ideas, coming up with new solutions for entrepreneurs. And that's why I started Mawaidha, and that's why I do almost everything that I do. It's really to spark that entrepreneur spirit. And so for me also next week, I am absolutely excited about what we're going to be discussing. However, for today, let me play a clip from, like I told you, we did a three-day intensive farm trip about last year. And so let me play a clip from Dr. Suleiman Al Habib Hospital, and then everybody can jump in and you know,
definitely
have that discussion.
One of my favorites, one of the best.
You have
one of the best
after
hospitals.
4 to 6 weeks, and then you see the orthopedic doctor. Here you come, you do the X-ray, you do the MRI, and you see the orthopedic the same day or the day after. Something you cannot even think about it. And we're not talking right now at 2, we're talking at 3 in the morning. Here you come, you have your MRI. The next day you have your diagnosis, you have your treatment, and you go home. Something unique, to be fair. Neurosurgery 24 hours, radiology 24 hours, all the surgical 24 hours. So anything you need at any time, here you will have it within half an hour. I don't know, you come with a brain bleeding, within half an hour you're in OR. You're one of the best neurosurgeons doing the surgery on you right now. It's just amazing. I mean, to be a doctor here, selection is quite difficult. And once inside, you want to stay. So
Awesome, awesome. So up next, I'm going to have Cicely. Cicely is a radiographer at a local hospital right here in Nairobi. And one thing I want all our panelists just to recap on what Dr. Zubir Budi was talking about. He's talking about 3 a.m. MRIs. Okay, you walk into a hospital in Dubai 3 a.m. and by the next, you get your MRI. And by the next day, morning 7 or so, you have your results. I'm not an expert, I'm not a medical doctor, but from the little experience of one time having to take a loved one for an MRI right here in Nairobi, I don't want to say how long it took us, but let's just say the experience was not, that was not the experience. So let me have Cicely coming on. Hi, Cicely.
Hello, I hope you can hear me. Hi, everyone.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. So start by introducing yourself. Tell us who you are, where you work, and tell us how your journey has been so far, your medical journey so far.
Okay, so my name is Cicely Mudhoni. I work at Mpisha Hospital here in Nairobi, Kenya. I am a radiographer by profession. And I have to say, I love my profession because I love saving people, and you cannot have medicine without diagnosis. So we are like the backbone of the whole medical field. So I love what I do. And one thing I have to say, Bonnie, like you said about your clip, that's really admirable. And I can't wait to see a day when in Kenya we can have that kind of efficiency, where you get your scans done and in a few hours or minutes, we are able to get the results. So you will find that in most hospitals around our country, people get their scans done and it takes forever to get the results. So one of the reasons why that happens is because very few hospitals are able to hire radiologists, and if they have, it's like one or two, and the workload is just too much. So I think if we are able to have more radiologists in our hospitals, it would be so much better for us. And also, another reason why it's really good to have such an efficient system is because there are things we call critical values in diagnosis. We have those response that the results, we need to have the patient taken care of like as immediately as possible. If we get such a case where a patient comes, let's say does a CT scan and they have like pulmonary embolism, and then we don't have a doctor reporting that on time and it takes like two days to get the report done, then we have very high chances of losing the patient. I mean, that is the kind of things we are facing in the departments and in many hospitals, and we are losing so many patients because of that. So for me, I think I really admire, what your doctor told you from Dubai. That's really admirable. I can't wait to have that in Kenya. Yeah. So
excellent. And one of the things, because I've been in media for a minute, and one of the things we've covered a lot of stories on misdiagnosis in the country. From your medical opinion and from your experience, what role then does this slow state of MRI radiography, because you give the tools for diagnosis, just like you said, what role then does the lack of those facilities play in the poor level of diagnosis in the country?
You see, Bonnie, what happens most of the times is if we get a scan done and we don't have a specialist to give us a report, then we just send it to other people and we have people making guesses on what it could be. Because if we're not having a specialist reporting, then whoever is trying to manage the patient does not have adequate information on patient management. That is the worst. I mean, it has such bad results, and it is what has been happening in the country, and that's why we have a lot of misdiagnosis around, because if someone who does not know how to read an MRI or a CT scan receives the results, the images without the written report by a consultant, then they just end up not diagnosing the right thing or treating something else, or it's just chaotic. Yeah.
I hope everyone was hearing you. You are off and on. But yes, so another question I really need to ask is, we've seen a lot of stories, especially the intern. You recently just started. You're sort of relatively new in your space, but I think you can really speak, because just the other day we saw a lot of stories about medical interns who can't get, who can't get placements. And that was quite a problem. And also right now we've had a lot of stories about strikes and all these kind of things. Maybe speak to us a little bit about what is the state of healthcare. And the reason I'm saying that is because later on we'll have a gentleman from the UK who will be telling us about some of the opportunities that are available for healthcare practitioners right here to get placements in the UK. But tell us, what is the state of affairs? And I know probably you've not been around for long enough, but I think you've been around long enough to know how are things? And you're probably one of the lucky people who got a job relatively fast after graduating. But what's the word on the streets?
Okay, so as you said, I'm one of the few who are so lucky to get a job quite soon after finishing their school. But I have friends, I have classmates, I know so many people who have really suffered and, who are really tamaking to get a job. And also we have, in Kenya, we have the medical field. It's separated into private and public sector. So especially for public, it's not so easy to get an employment. You'll find that most of the times they give the employment on contract basis, so that they give you like a 2-year contract, and after that you're in the wind. In the private sector, it's not as challenging, but you will find that most private sectors are not in a position to hire so many practitioners. So they just hire a few people. Yet in the country, we have so many institutions that are offering medical courses, and so many people graduating every year, and coming out here, they find that they don't have a place to go. The field is just congested generally. So I think it would be so good for medical practitioners to be open-minded. If you're able to get an opportunity to go out there and practice there, well, I think you should grab the opportunity, because right now in the country, it's a bit tough, to be honest. And the few of us who have gotten an opportunity, let's do a good job and serve the people of this nation. And also talking about the internship, I'd want to appreciate the hospitals in the country, because, to be honest, most of the students are offered an internship opportunity in hospitals, and we have a very supportive system for that, because the students are allowed to practice in most hospitals in the country, both public and private institutions. I don't think we have had people who totally don't get a place to practice as a student. So I'd like to commend, all the hospitals in Kenya for that. But then the problem is just with employment. But we understand the situation in our country is not exactly so good, and everybody is struggling to be where they are at some point. So yeah, I think that would be my input on that.
Awesome. Really great insights. Really great insights to hear from you. And so when you look, especially in your space of radiography, what are your hopes and dreams as you're beginning this journey? And one of the things I love about our panel today is we have a wide variety of experts who you are just starting out, but we also have guys who have been around for a while. And so we just wanted to capture that whole spectrum of experiences. So what do you look forward to in the future? And what's your advice to all the other medical practitioners, especially the young guys who are just getting into the space and getting into the space right here in Kenya and across Africa? Because I think there are a lot of similarity. What's your word of advice to all the medical practitioners across Africa?
Okay, so what I'd like to say,